The biggest disaster in my lifetime was us leaving the European Union. It is now the full ramifications of us not being in the European Union is starting to really take its toll. But if I was the Prime Minister, I would be coming along on my bended knees and asking to be allowed back in. It's all to do with trade, the free trade. Small people, small traders can't ship goods abroad now. It's very complicated. It's a terrible situation, a real terrible situation. How do we get out of it? My honest opinion, get back in the EU.
Hey everyone, it's now the 5th anniversary of Brexit, and while support for the decision is getting worse, to say the least, there are growing concerns for the UK, growing calls, shall I say, for the UK to re-establish a better relationship with the EU, or even rejoin altogether. Business tycoon Alan Sugar, you're fired! Recently referred to Brexit as the biggest disaster of his lifetime, urging the government to ask to rejoin, even if it means swallowing some pride. But is he right? The big discussion this week is about growth and how we get the UK economy and businesses moving again. According to Sugar, the fallout from leaving the EU is now starting to become painfully clear. He argues that if he were the Prime Minister, he would go back to Brussels on bended knee, tail between the legs, begging to be allowed back in. Sugar believes it all comes down to trade. Even small businesses and traders are struggling to ship goods abroad, and it's a mess. If we want to fix this, he believes the only real solution is to rejoin the EU, re-enter the single market and the customs union, and undo the damage caused by Brexit. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Brexit won't be truly over until the UK rejoins. Now, while the Labour government may not be rushing to rejoin, they are quietly working to rebuild that trust with the EU, trying to get access to certain programmes that the UK had actually previously pulled out of. It's slow, and the rhetoric isn't ideal, but there is some movement behind the scenes, and that is encouraging. When it comes to rejoining, though, the UK needs to be a bit more straightforward. I don't understand why they're not directly addressing the impact of Brexit. The Chancellor often talks about growing the economy, but never mentions Brexit. It's a legitimate reasons as to why things are more difficult, and the duplicitous nature of the fucking campaign in the first place, as we all know, and it's been extensively talked about on this channel. If the government wants to make meaningful changes, a fully funded NHS, a fully staffed NHS, the things we had before, they need to come out and admit that Brexit is in the way. If we want to move forward, let's think about supporting rejoining, and let's try to do it now. Let's not forget that rejoining the EU isn't just a UK issue. It's about convincing the EU, who hate us. The UK needs to present a unified front in Parliament. It's no use if only Labour, the Lib Dems and the Greens and maybe the SNP support it. The Conservative Party must also be on board. Reform UK? Bollocks. They'll never support rejoining. The point is, rejoining the EU requires a majority consensus within Parliament. Without it, the EU won't entertain the idea of the UK coming back, only to leave again in a few years. The EU wants commitment, like my ex-wife, not half-hearted membership. We need to remember that the UK was part of the EU, weren't exactly a glowing example of a pro-European country. The referendum split the nation between Brexiteers and Remainers, but many Remainers didn't exactly consider themselves pro-European. They just thought it was better to stay in than to leave. The EU doesn't want to take us back if we're going to treat it as a necessary evil. This mindset within British politics needs to change before rejoining becomes an actual, real possibility. But let me know what you think. I've been Jake from Just Jake. As always, subscribe to the channel and follow my Facebook page, and I will see you next time. You actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.